Park Bench, Barrington. What an honor it is today for me to have the chance to interview Bob Burg. Bob Burg is the co-author of a national bestseller called The Go-Giver, along with John David Mann. And it's rated one of the most influential books and on HubSpot's top 20 most highly rated sales books. And what I loved about the book is that while it is a sales focused book, it's very focused on, for me, soul searching. So it's truly an honor for me to spend time today bringing Bob Burg and his message to you all. So Bob, thank you very much. It's a bit like Christmas for me today to get to interview you.
That's very
So
kind.
yeah, I'm really appreciative. And I know my viewers are going to love hearing about your message. And the only reason why I came upon Bob was through the kindness of a neighbor who has noticed the enjoyment I get from giving and helping others. So he put Bob's book, Bob and John David Mann's book, in my mailbox. And so that's how this all started. So Bob, for the few of those out there who don't know about you and your book, let's start with setting the foundation of discussing the premise of The Go-Giver.
Yeah, I mean the basic premise of the book itself is simply that shifting your focus, and this is really the key, shifting your focus from getting to giving. And when we say giving in this context, we simply mean constantly and consistently providing immense value to others, understanding that doing so is not only a more fulfilling way of conducting business, it's the most financially profitable way as well. And not for any kind of woo-woo, way out there, magical, mystical reasons. It actually makes very rational, logical sense. When you're that person who can take your focus off yourself and place it on helping others, discovering what they want, what they need, what they desire, focusing on helping them overcome their challenges or problems, focusing on helping them get closer to happiness. Okay. People feel good about you. People want to get to know you. They like you. They trust you. They want to be part of your life. They want to be in relationship with you. They want to do business with you. They want to tell others about you.
Yes, it's just the act of giving. What inspired you to create this book? Was it just you felt so passionately about this notion that you wanted to share it with others, or was it a life event that kind of triggered the book? Or
Well, in a sense, it was inspired many years ago because of my first kind of big book, if you will, or more known book, and that was a sales book, a how-to book called Endless Referrals, and the
yes.
title was Network Your Everyday. The subtitle was Network Your Everyday Contacts into Sales. The title was Endless Referrals, and it was a book written for the entrepreneur or salesperson who knew they had a great product or service. They knew it brought fantastic value to others, but they weren't necessarily comfortable with going out into their local communities and developing the kinds of relationships with people that would cause people to want to do business with them directly and or refer them to others. So it was a how-to. It was built on a premise that all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to those people they know, like,
I
and
can
trust. And the
try.
book was on how to to build those kinds of relationships in a way that was very confidence building, very simple, and very, very doable. But I'd always enjoyed reading parables
Mm,
because parables are, the stories. Stories connect, I think, on a deeper level, on more of a heart level than how-to books generally do. And so I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could take that basic know, like, and trust premise from Endless Referrals and put it into a parable? So I thought, okay, so entitling it, what is the basic essence
Mm.
of that entrepreneur or salesperson who's able to very quickly and sustainably
Yeah.
create those know, like, and trust relationships. And it comes down to they're givers. They're always looking for ways to give value to others. And so coming up with, the title, The Go Giver, and a general idea, yeah, that was the easy part. But the best thing I did for the book was to ask John David Mann, who you were kind enough to mention earlier, to ask him to co-author the book and really be the lead writer and storyteller. Yeah, I'm a how-to guy, right? I'm step one, step two, step three. So I'm kind of boring. John is a magnificent storyteller. And fortunately he said yes.
Mm.
And we wrote it. Took a few months to write it, and then took a year and 25 rejections, I think, from New York publishing houses before we finally found the perfect publishing partner, which was Portfolio, a business imprint of Penguin Random House. So everything
Okay.
happens when it's supposed to. But that was really the inspiration for the book
Okay.
itself. But like John, I was very fortunate to grow up with parents who were really, this is how they ran their lives, and so we both had good examples. We're
Yeah.
very much in alignment with
Yeah.
them.
Okay. And the book hinges on this great parable of the businessman thinking he has to just get more and leverage the people around him to gain success. And the book highlights 5 laws of stratospheric success, I believe.
Mhm.
In a nutshell, what are those 5 laws? Because they're incredible. I think if we all highlighted them on our dream boards around our office space, it would be daily inspiration. Can you highlight those for us?
Sure. The 5 laws themselves are the laws of value, compensation, influence, authenticity, and receptivity. The first one, the law of value, is really all about creating such an immense experience for
Yeah.
the other person. And this is really, Sarah, it's not just in the sales process itself, but it's from the moment you meet that person, whether it's an inbound call or lead, or you've met them within your community or through some other type of medium or through a referral, whatever it happens to be.
Mhm.
From the moment you meet that person, through the relationship building process, to the follow-up and the follow-through, to the sales process, to the referral process, it's making that experience magnificent for that other person. And that when they do finally buy, okay, and do business with you, if that's what happens, they feel as though, with everything considered, they receive much more than what they
Mhm.
paid for. While, of course, you, the entrepreneur or salesperson, makes a very, very healthy profit. So in any free market based exchange, and when I say free market, I simply mean no one is forced to do business with anyone else, right? In any
Right.
market based exchange, there should always be 2 profits: the buyer profits and the seller profits, because each of them come away better off afterwards than they
Mm.
were beforehand. So that's really what the law of value is all about. The law of but it happens because the focus of the salesperson is not on the money. The
Mhm.
focus is on the immense value they're providing the other person. The money is simply the result. This is why John and I say that money is simply an echo of value.
Oh, I
It's
like
a
that.
thunder, if you will, to value's lightning, right? So the value comes first. That's got to be the focus. It's not a matter of not receiving. No, of course that's very important, but the focus is on the value you're providing another person. The
Mhm.
money you receive is simply a natural result of the value you've provided. The law of compensation, law number 2, says your income is determined by how many people you serve
Mm.
and how well you serve them. So where law number 1 is all about the value you're providing another person, law number 2 says the more people whose lives you touch or impact with that exceptional value, the more money with which you'll be rewarded.
Mm.
Law number 3 is the law of influence, which says your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interest first. Now, this
Mm.
sounds counterintuitive when you first hear it, right? Maybe even counterproductive or even Pollyanna-ish, right? But place the other
Mm.
person's interest first. But let me explain, if I may, and let me qualify this. When we say place the other person's interest first, we do not mean that you should be anyone's doormat
Mm.
or a martyr or self-sacrificial in any way. Absolutely not at all. It's simply understanding, as Joe, the protege in the story, learned from several of the mentors, the golden rule of business, of sales, of networking, what have you, is simply that all things being equal, as we talked about earlier,
Mm.
people will do business with and refer business to those people they know, like, and trust. Well, Sarah, and you know this, the fastest, the most powerful, the most effective way to elicit those feelings toward you in others is by genuinely
Yeah.
moving from what we call an I focus or me focus to an other focus. Looking to, as Sam, one of the mentors in the story, advised Joe, make your win all about the other person's win.
Mm.
Law number 4, the law of authenticity, says the most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself.
Yeah, that's my
In
favorite one.
Yeah, that's right. I remember you saying that. And in this part of the story, Deborah, who was the realtor in this case, very, very successful real estate professional, she shared a very important lesson, and that is all the skills in the world, the sales skills, technical skills, people skills, as important as they are, and they are indeed all very, very important,
Mm.
they're also all for naught if you don't come at it from your true, authentic
Yeah.
core. But when you do, when you show up as yourself day after day, week after week, month after month, people feel good about you. They feel
Mm.
comfortable with you. They feel safe with you. And why wouldn't they? They know who you are. They
Yeah.
know who they're getting, right?
Yeah.
And this is when that relationship really takes that next step, and people are much more likely to want to do business with you, refer you to others, and so forth. I think it's interesting that the word authenticity, which has become so, I think, used and almost overused,
Yeah.
is I think gets confused sometimes these days, where people think, well, authenticity means you have no filters. You just say whatever you want to
Yeah.
say, or else you're not authentic, or it means, no, that's not what authenticity means at all. Authenticity really simply means acting congruently with your values. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what authenticity is. It's like, when people say, well, uh, you know, uh, I have anger issues and I yell at people a lot. No, that's just the way I am. And if I were to do anything differently, that wouldn't be authentic of me. And that's malarkey. That's hogwash. It simply means this person has an authentic problem that this person needs to authentically work on in order to become a higher, more effective,
Yeah.
authentic version of themselves. So, we always like to say, don't use authenticity as an excuse to not grow, right? But
Right.
instead, utilize it as a springboard to step into your highest authentic nature.
Right. Your best self.
Your best self, exactly. And
Yeah.
then there's law number 5, which is the law of receptivity. And this one says the key to effective giving is to stay open to
Yeah.
receiving. And this really, Sarah, means nothing more than understanding that, yeah, you breathe out and you also have to breathe in. You
Yeah.
breathe out carbon dioxide, you breathe in oxygen. You
Yeah.
breathe out, which is giving, and you breathe in, which is receiving. It's not an either or. It's
Yeah.
not one or the other. It's not giving or receiving. It's an and. It's both. But your
Mm.
focus is on the giving, right?
Right.
And
Right.
you realize that despite all the negative messages about money and about prosperity and abundance and business and the horrible messages we get from the world around us, it's just not so.
Mm.
Giving and receiving are not opposite concepts. You're not a giver or a receiver. You're
Yeah.
a giver and a receiver, but you know that the laws of life, the laws of nature, the laws of business are that the giving comes first. We plant before we harvest, we sow before
Right.
we reap, and we give before we receive. But when we give, and we give value to many, and we place their interests first because we understand people are buying for their reasons, not for our reasons.
Mhm.
And when we come at it authentically and consistently, we've created the benevolent context for success, and it comes toward us, and we've got to allow ourselves to
Yeah,
receive.
to receive it. Yeah, I mean, those are amazing tenets that you highlight in the book. And again, I
Thank you.
think one that we all can look to daily to improve ourselves and that which we bring to our community and our neighbors and those in our work environments. You in the book you say that the go-giver philosophy is really congruent with human nature, which I love that concept. And then some will say, well, that can be analyzed with some negative connotations too. But I believe that we all have the go-givers within us. And some would say that to me, well, that's naive. It's, again, it's all about getting and moving up in order to be successful. What do you say about that the go-giver, that it is congruent with human nature and who we are at the core?
Yeah, well, let's look at it on two levels. Let's look at it in terms of the buyer and us.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I often, when I speak at sales conferences, one of the first things I'll say is nobody's going to buy from you because you have a quota to meet.
Yes.
Okay. They're not going to buy from you because you need the money. And they're not even going to buy from you just because you're a really nice person. They're
Mhm.
going to buy from you because they believe they'll be better off by doing so than by not doing so.
Mm.
Then the question becomes, are they probably going to feel that they're better off buying from you because you've gone on in there with the idea of just getting their money from them?
Mhm.
That they can smell your commission breath. They can tell through everything you say and do in your attitude that you're there to just get their money. Probably not.
Mhm.
They're much more likely to feel comfortable with you, to like you, to trust you, to feel good about doing business with you when they can sense that you are genuinely interested in them and that your goal is providing value to them. Okay,
Mhm.
so that's human nature in terms of the buyer, himself or herself. Okay,
Right.
now let's look at our own human nature. I think that as human beings, most of us are built to want to make a difference in our world, a positive difference. That's not a weakness, that's a strength.
Mhm.
Okay. And as entrepreneurs and salespeople, we tend to do that mostly through our work. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't other things we can't do, charities we're involved in, and different, of course. But by and large, it's through our work that we make a big difference in the world.
Mhm.
Okay. And so yes, I think when it comes down to it, people naturally
Mhm.
want to bring value to other human beings. But let's also look at where the person says, well, isn't that naive?
Right.
Okay, so let's look at an aspect of that. As human beings, are we self-interested? Sure. Absolutely, we're self-interested. That's hardwired into our DNA. That's how we are not we, but our ancestors, our cave person ancestors survived. They had
Mhm.
to have enough self-interest to survive the day and be careful and be right and to avoid
Yeah.
danger and know what
That's
was,
what fit.
yeah,
Right.
you know, yeah. And so that's fine. And so, but part of self-interest is also doing things in such a way that if your self-interest is going to be taken care of, right, it's understanding that that's going to happen more by providing value to others. Because again,
Mhm.
we've got to go back to that. People don't buy for your reasons, they buy for their reasons. They have a
Mhm.
choice, they don't have to buy. So here's what I would say to the person who feels, well, that's just naive, it's all about, go with that if you want. Okay. don't don't deny your self-interest. You don't have to. It would be denying human nature. Don't deny your self-interest, but what I'll suggest is suspend your self-interest.
Yeah.
Okay, temporarily suspend your self-interest. Like you go into a movie, you willingly suspend your disbelief.
All right.
You know you're going into a movie. You know you're watching characters that you probably paid to see those characters. They're not real. Their names are even coming up on the screen as the movie starts. You know it's not real. You know Bruce Willis isn't really cracking a joke when a terrorist has a gun pointed at his head or something, right? It just,
All right. Okay.
we know it's it, but in order to enjoy it and laugh where it's funny and feel the emotion and the sadness and get the full impact, we willingly suspend our disbelief, but we do it temporarily. Once the movie's over, we leave, we come back to reality. Okay. It's the same here. If you feel you have to suspend your self-interest, do so, suspend it. And then ask yourself the question. Okay. Again, this is for the people who think it's naive. Okay.
Yeah.
If you go in there in a sales presentation with your focus on yourself and your focus on getting that person's money out of their bank account and into yours, how are you most likely to come across?
Right.
Right. Instead, if you go in there, if you suspend your self-interest, you go in there and you go in there totally with the idea, okay, of bringing them immense value, making it about them, not about you. How much more likely is it that the sale is going to take place? Amazing. Which is in your best interest too, right? So here's what happens when you do this and your focus is on the other person, not yourself. First, you increase the odds that the sale is going to take place, but you also feel great about it.
Yeah.
Because you know you did it the right way. You brought value to another human being. And again, we are wired that way.
Yeah.
We want to feel as though we're bringing value to others.
Yeah.
And so now it becomes a lot more natural and you don't have to suspend your self-interest. You just know that there's no dichotomy between other interest and self-interest. See, it's not one or the other. It's an and. And it just so happens that by focusing on the interest of the others, your self-interest is taken care of. There's no magic behind it. It's just human nature.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, Bob. I really, and I would say to the viewers to take that as a challenge. First off, I implore everyone to get the book. It is truly, for me, it just resonates completely with who I am and who I strive to be. And the enjoyment that I get from helping others and by bringing value to others, it's amazing, and it can be prosperous. So I send it out to our viewers as a challenge for those who do think it's somewhat naive, just as Bob so eloquently expressed, of how by giving value, you then receive so much. I want to thank you, Bob. The fact that I was able to come across you truly has been a gift, and I'm going to be out there sharing your message far and wide, because it resonates unlike anything else with who I strive to be. So to all the viewers out there, I say, definitely get the book. He has so many great ones. Start with The Go-Giver, and try it on, try on that attitude of giving. But Bob, I want to thank you, because you're an inspiration to many, and it's truly an honor to be able to share this space with you today. So thank you.
The honor is mine, Sarah. You are a spectacular human being, and I just appreciate you so much.
Thank you. And Bob, for others who want to follow along, you have a great website, great Instagram. Where do you suggest people seek you out?
Yeah, I would say just to go to Burg, BURG.com, scroll down so you can see all the different resources. And at the very bottom, it will show you where to connect with me on all the various social media platforms.
Okay. Yeah. So I encourage all of you to do that. Well, thank you, Bob. Thanks again. Keep on inspiring us all. And
My
stay
pleasure.
well.
Thank you. And you too.
All right. Thank you.